Welcome back to the Moonlight 44 East vs West tournament. This is going to be round 2 of cold beer drinkers up here in the north as the Axis versus Hero down here as the Allies. First round was a victory for cold beer drinkers, a pretty quick one at that, as it was on Lork Assault. So, of course, there was the possibility to go for 5 VPs at once. And the Axis were able to use that to their full potential, getting a very nice early push and managing to secure a very, very quick and bloodless win. So they're going to be coming off strong into this second round, and we're going to be seeing this all together now. Carrion has been playing the OKW. Yes, it looks like he hasn't changed. Brosras hasn't changed with the Wehrmacht. Captain Rayon still OKW, and Terriat still Wehrmacht. So it looks like factions still haven't changed, and players, of course, for cold beer drinkers. Let's see if we have any changes from Hero. Xiong out here doing his thing with the UKF, so no changes. Baker as the Soviets, no changes. Backpack as the Americans, and Wang has the Soviets, so no changes coming in from Hero as well. Now, this time the map will be Port of Hamburg, as I'm sure you've already seen. Port of Hamburg, kind of characterized by these annoying little buildings that are about everywhere, and of course the line of sight shot blockers from these walls. Unfortunately, it looks like Backpack's riflemen are getting backed right into the wall by these Storm Pioneers, and the Axis might be able to capture the building with an MG, thus securing it for themselves. The fact they were a little bit faster than the Allies, because of course the MG42 from the Wehrmacht can be bought from the HQ. And, well, of course, the Soviets had to wait until the Tier 2 support by his Campania before they could go with their own Maxim to counter. They should definitely bring up a mortar to try to dislodge this MG from the building, and looks like they're doing that. They might have a chance to break through this German position after all, but they're going to have to be wary of the sniper and this flanking unit of engineers. Looking into the north, looks like the Axis have a pretty strong push going with Antaria and of course, the OKW forces getting a nice flank off of this Vickers. It's going to actually go down entirely. 2 penals coming in for Baker. He's going to be trying to push back the German troops. They're going to be able to recapture the Vickers machine gun, which could be very, very dangerous because, of course, 6-man Vickers equals double the Vickers. Well, maybe not double the Vickers, but definitely double the crew, which can be very strong. Interesting, he decides to retreat out of there, because, of course, he does not want to get plastered by something like this mortar, and, of course, the MG42. We have a nice sort of push from Antaria, trying to get into the rear line across the bridge over here and capture some points that normally are just easily held by the Allies. So, yep, this engineer squad will definitely need some support in the form of some sappers. So, Xiong already going for that Tier 2. I wonder what he is thinking with that. It looks like in the eastern side of the map, the Germans have managed to secure the position, but not as well as they perhaps wanted. The MG42 has been forced away, and it's been covered by a smoke grenade. So pretty nice usage of, I'm guessing, the mortar. Wait, what caused that smoke? Must have been the rifleman then. It wasn't a mortar. Oh, it could have been this mortar. So either this mortar or the rifleman smoking the opposing MG for some reason, thus covering it from the line of sight. Oh, perhaps they wanted to cover themselves for the sniper. Anyway, triple cap is set up by the Axis, so that means that the Allies are going to need to, again, sort of, well, huddle up, try to get organized into a big ball, and push for one of these VPs and take it, because they can't afford to let the triple cap destroy them this quickly again. At this point, they just really need some time to get to that late game where they might have a chance against the Axis, because the Axis seems to be very, very well coordinated at the start, and they're just winning off of that. In the meantime, that does not mean that the Allies can't have any successes, but still. Very nice bit of a flank coming in from Carrion. He's already going for that battle group headquarters, pretty close to the front line, so he's going to basically have this entire area on lockdown. That is going to be very, very cruel for our allied players. They're not going to be able to push through this battle group headquarters. In fact, we also have a bunker coming down from Brasras. Looks like a bit of a miscommunication, because Yeah, okay, of course. So the field medics aren't being upgraded because, of course, this is being turned into a medic bunker. Very, very good coordination, in fact, by the Germans, making sure that they're not wasting resources on these field medics because these cost fuel, whereas the bunker plus the medics only costs munitions and manpower. Of course, munitions and manpower, I would spend those over manpower and fuel any day. Now, yes, this defensive line from the Germans is definitely holding, but very good push with these smoke grenades from the Allies is definitely putting a little bit of pressure on that. Unfortunately, because of the presence of this battle group headquarters, it is very, very unlikely that our Allied players will be able to push through and sort of smash the battle group headquarters as well, because we have the support gun, we have the MG, of course, which is being constantly reinforced by the battle group headquarters, second support gun, in fact, coming out from Carrion. So this position seems firmly in the hands of the Germans, but at least the Allies do have a bit of a push going towards the center. In fact, a bit of a harassment move, in fact, with the re-echelon troops. Gonna get countered by Captain Rayan's Volksgrenadiers, and Captain Rayan is also going for a battle headquarters, so it looks like the Germans are, well, really valuing these battle headquarters. Both of our OKW players going for them, and of course trying to hold to their flanking positions respectively. Of course, we have one VP to the extreme left and one to the extreme right. Now, the one to the extreme right did get harassed down by our allied players, so at least that is going to be a bit of a salve relief for our allies. They have a little bit of extra breathing space to just get out something and try to counter the Germans. We have once again Antaria going for the flame half-track, which can be very dangerous. And in fact, it will find these stolen / repurposed Vickers from the Penals, and that is definitely not going to be that good for his Vickers. But looks like the flame half-track is going, I think, cache hunting, and mortar hunting. Okay, so wants to destroy the mortar pit, but the mortar pit very smartly decides to brace as soon as it sees that flame half-track, just to have it, of course, just kind of wasted time. I mean, right now it seems like these Penals might just be able to get close enough to throw a grenade, but of course, the flame half-track realizes that this is happening and decides to retreat. Of course, this flame half-track with the 2 flame projectors can shoot towards the rear as well. Looks like the Pioneers managing to defuse the anti-tank mine that I think the Brits had set up. That looked like a Brit mine, and allowing the escape of this half-track. Very, very nicely played by Antaria, getting just a little tiny bit of a drive-by off of the 3-inch mortar emplacement, almost destroying it. That's very unfortunate that he was not able to finish the job, but oh hey, he might be able to do that once again. At first I was thinking he was going cache hunting, because usually in this area covered by both the river and a narrow road, those are the only 2 access points essentially to this southwestern triangle of strategic points. Oh, very nice usage of the PTRSs, getting the flak half-track down. So very good victory we have here from Baker and the Allies, because in the other game, that flame half-track had been such a huge pain in the rear for our Allied squad. So getting that down is definitely important, and these Penals are also managing to get a bit of a flank off and cause some panic along the German troops, but they were able to push away some of the other forces that were attacking them from the front. Looks like the flak half-track from our American player Backpack will be trying to suppress some of these German troops, and that might be enough to save the Penal, but it isn't, because of these 2 MG42s getting their murderous rate of fire to work and destroying that squad quite easily. Flak half-track seems very, very confused about what is happening, because there's a Rakenwerfer. It looks like the Rakenwerfer shot at the flak half-track and made it spaz out, which it definitely should be, but it should be spazzing out in the direction of the base, I think, and getting some repairs at this point. The Germans are also pushing in the east. They've managed to secure, once again, their victory point on this side, and they have, of course, the 2 support guns from Carrion, definitely getting quite a bit of a pressure help for our German players. Now, unfortunately, it looks like the Allies really can't do anything on the right side of the map, and that's to be expected. I mean, with this kind of fortification, even going for the reinforced steel barricades, just to be an extra, I don't know, I really do not know why he went for these, but still, also lots of mines coming in from Carrion, very, very good, just getting his extra munitions to work, because of course he's already upgraded all of his Volksgrenadiers, so getting the extra munitions to work just having some mines just in case the allies do go for some kind of light vehicle to rush them down. Light vehicles we may see, as we do see Hero Wang, our Soviet player in the south. He does have a tank of battalion command, so he can go for, yep, T-70 coming in from Wang. We have Backpack, of course, with his Flak half-track. Tank of battalion command also coming in from Baker. And we do see a T-70 out of him as well. So double T-70 once again for our allied players. And of course, platoon command post from Xiong, although Xiong decided to not go for a AEC armored car, instead waiting. The center is now firmly under control of the allies with that Flak half-track and the T-70s. They might be able to defend us pretty well against the Volksgrenadier spam from Carrion. Not really spam, but free Volksgrenadier units. Carrion is going to be going for a Stuka, so he has gone for the mechanized regiment headquarters just to get that extra artillery piece, to get some pressure against any kind of allied support weapons or entrenchments, which can be a good choice. Demo charge coming down from the combat engineer squad on the opposite side of the cover that looks like was built by some Volksgrenadiers. Yeah, these look like Volksgrenadier sandbags. But we have an Ostwind from Brostras. This is definitely the biggest little unit on the field right now. Unfortunately, it's going to get blocked by these crates. So since we're not in the balanced patch yet, the Ostwind cannot shoot over terrain. So that Ostwind gets, the mighty Ostwind gets stopped by some crates, and the MG will have to get destroyed by the flanking German infantry force. Of course, this anti-tank gun could deal with the Ostwind, but we'll see if there are more counters coming in from the Germans. Very nicely fortifying up the bridge with some mines. Very good Stuka barrage potential over here with lots and lots of allied troops. Lots of damage coming in on the MG in the building, destroying it completely. So that was a good first barrage from our Stuka, getting a wipe completely because that MG doesn't look like it dropped the model. Nope, not anywhere. Of course, when the building is destroyed, I believe the chances of the actual MG dropping to the ground are lower. Much lower than normal. Yeah, it's a very high chance that the MG gets destroyed. It might be the same chance as the chance of survival of a model inside a, for example, half-track. If the half-track gets destroyed, there's a chance, which I don't exactly recall, that the model will just outright die. And it's a pretty high one. Ostwind's still pushing up, perhaps a little bit too overzealously, because of course we do have this other anti-tank gun covering there, but this wall is able to block the shots from this anti-tank gun quite quickly. Of course, the anti-tank gun can shoot through with attack round and trying to destroy the walls. Unfortunately, it seems to miss a lot, so the Ostwind will be able to escape. Yet more mines coming down from our German players. They're definitely making use of those mines, like, creating a bit of a devil's playground all around, and that could be very dangerous in case the Allies make a comeback and try to sort of dive into the rear lines of the Germans and push through. We have a pack howitzer from Backpack. I do not necessarily agree with this choice. I think that the pack howitzer at this point doesn't really serve too much of a purpose because the Germans really are trying to push towards the central part of the map, which was held by the Allies. So perhaps going for an extra AT gun to, for example, protect against something like this Ostwind might have been a better choice. Yep, machine gun in the south going to be suppressing these shock troops, although... What? Hello? Are you sleeping? Looks like the MG crew is caught with their pants down entirely, and the shock troops will murder them. Mercilessly murder them. That was pretty funny. Oh, of course, the support gun comes in to help, but whatever. Stuka barrage in the set. Oh, that's just devastating. Very nicely done with the Stuka. Getting up to Ved 1 already. Carrion definitely getting a bit of an edge to the German team with the Stuka. T-70 can't really deal with the Flak Panzer Ostwind one-on-one because the Ostwind does have that 37mm, which can quite easily penetrate the very light armor of the T-70, whereas the T-70's 45mm can't really penetrate the frontal armor of the Ostwind as easily. Well, looks like we also have a propaganda artillery coming in from most likely... it's going to be Baker. No, Wang. Wang going for the terror tactics. Yeah, terror tactics. That's a doctrine I almost never see, but I quite like. Of course, heavy cavalry company from Backpack with these Rangers. Pretty big push for the Allies. We have a huge blob of infantry from Backpack, managing to get some work done, and a Valentine light tank from the artillery regiment of Xiong. I'm not entirely sure that this is a good idea. I mean, he might as well have gone for a Cromwell at this point, but I guess he wants the extra support later on with the map hack ability, which could be good. The Allies are down to 173 points, and also, the Matilda, no, not the Matilda, the Valentine is pushing in to try to destroy the Stuka. It might be able to do that with its extra strong speed, but it decides to not do that because the Austin indeed is actually murdering this Valentine from the front. Very strong. Also, it looks like a plane is coming in. That's an Il-2 Sturmovik, so it might be a recon. Oh no, it was a marked vehicle on the Stuka. So, of course, the Allies trying to dive into that Stuka. Unfortunately, not really managed to do that. And a Teller Mine will definitely destroy the Valentine from the rear, saving the other Stuka, actually 2 Stukas from our OKW player Carrion. If the second one performs as well as the first one, then it is going to be pretty good for the Germans. In fact, it's already up to 9 kills. Devastating, absolutely devastating. Barrage takes out a lot of mortars. Unfortunately, it seems like a Su-76 is trying to chase, but it managed to run into 2 mines instead of 1. And so, of course, it goes down. So the mines definitely proving their worth for our German players. Mines win games, minesweepers destroy mines. So again, minesweepers. Unfortunately, it seems like none of the Allies really have any minesweepers, and that's a pretty huge mistake, especially on a 4-4. Did that squad get wiped? Looks like that shock troop got completely wiped by a support gun shot. Or maybe they're just retreating. No, they're dead. Wow, that was quick. I was not expecting this. Damn. Still, yeah, it doesn't look like any of the Allies have any minesweepers, which is definitely a huge mistake because it only costs 30 munitions. And for example, Xiong over here, our British player, he's got 573 munitions. So of course that's like not even about 1/10 of your entire reserve. Yeah, no, 1/20th. So of course it was really negligible as a cost, and these mines, and it can prevent things like these. First, right now the mines have destroyed the observation tank Valentine, they've destroyed a ranger squad, and they've destroyed the Su-76. So that's pretty huge losses, especially in the mid game, especially when the Allies were already kind of on the back foot, and that will just kind of push the Allies from, well, being a little bit behind to being very, very far behind. Even on the left side, look at this gigantic fortification that we have from Antaria. He's got mortars, he's got anti-tank guns, he's got machine guns, he's got mines, he's got a bunker with the reinforcement point, he's got even barbed wire plus sandbags to cover his infantry a little bit better. And of course, he's got the fact that the enemies can only come in through a narrow choke point or another narrow choke point, again covered by a Teller Mine. So pretty dangerous stuff trying to approach this left side field point. And of course we have a Panther and a KT coming up at the same time for our German players. Nice skin. Looks like one of those weirdo skins that they released. Pretty funny though. Yeah, look at that. It's got a weird red thing, because why the hell not? Anyway, yeah, Captain Rayon also has the Sturmtiger. So you have 2 Tigers. Pretty much the Sturmtiger and the Königstiger are the only way you're gonna have 2 of the Tigers, because of course you can't get the Jagdtiger and the KT at the same time anymore. But still, it is not going to be too needed, I think, by the Germans, because this triple cap seems pretty solid. I don't think the Allies will be able to breach this. Now, looking at what the other German players were doing, we have, of course, Carrion going for the Stukas. That worked out awesomely. I was not expecting it to do that, but clearly Carrion is definitely used to using these Stukas to good effect, and he's been able to sort of direct their barrages exactly where they were needed. Panther diving into the American infantry, definitely not the best option with a captain being there, and with a veteran C2 rifleman and an AT gun, but of course, since we have the triple cap, it will be, well, pretty inconsequential because the game is going to be open and free seconds. 3 seconds? No, 6 seconds. Never mind. KT in the center, yeah, of course. So Captain Rayon going for the KT and Sturm Tiger combo. Also a very strong combination. It takes a while to set up, but once you do have it, you have a very strong assault vehicle, I guess, that you could use to destroy AT guns. And then you can get the King Tiger in as, of course, a shield for the Sturm Tiger and a big fire support for your infantry, just smashing through enemy positions and infantry troops at a will. The other German players who have Brostras just waiting around. It looks like he's waited with a ton of resources just to see what his allies were doing, because he saw that he was doing quite well with the units he had available to him, so he just focused on microing them, and eventually he would have, of course, if he was in some kind of trouble, gone for a counter to whatever the allies were bringing out, so kind of keeping himself as a reserve. And Antaria going for a very strong defensive position on the left side, lots and lots of infantry and support weapons. 2 engineer squads, of course, very good, because of course you can upgrade one with the Minesweeper, another with, if he so desired, flamethrowers, and of course you can have 2 engineers just for utility. For example, if you need to lay down mines, you can have one of them laying down mines and then the other one going to repair your tank, etc, etc. So a very solid build from Antaria. He was going to go for the Elephant Tank Destroyer later on. Definitely well played by the Germans. We also have a well, pretty decent setup with the, well, pretty decent, very good setup with these battle headquarters and these Schwerpanzer headquarters, protecting the areas that needed to be protected around the map, and excellent mine play. Of course, tons and tons of mines, especially in the rear areas, is something that I really enjoyed from these German players, because that was something that the Allies had not expected, and so when they were a little bit overzealous with their vehicles and trying to, because they felt behind, they were trying to sort of overdo their shock unit, their armored counterattack. When you come out with a shock unit that you want to make the best use out of, and then you just charge in and you get wrecked by mines, that is like the worst possible feeling. What the Allies could have done differently, again, I feel like their coordination is lacking. So the Hero Clan could have been a little bit more united in their pushes. Later on, Backpack did do some backpacking around. He went for the middle part of the map a couple times and then tried to swing back around the south. So that is a good thing, that he was not just headbutting into one area and getting himself completely destroyed all the time. But it wasn't enough. So overall, I feel like the team coordination, because again, it's a 4v4, it's absolutely the most important thing, and I can't wait to see more of cold beer drinkers in the future for the Moonlight tournament. So I want to thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you continue to enjoy the tournament games. As always, in the description, there will be the links to the other channels. And I'll see you soon.